All right. People in because the video, the short video on TikTok got over 5 million views. There were a lot of comments in the video. I wanted to address that short video, just the one where Deputy, I forget his name, Deputy Hilgart, nope, or the Deputy Kitslaar pulled the gun. Kitslaar. And there are some things that stood out to me as interesting with that situation, such as he leaned to the left when he pulled it out. I thought that was interesting to see that lean instead of just reaching down. It gives me the impression that it's a habit he's been practicing a lot. And it makes it so he doesn't have to raise his hand up as much, and you know, that's interesting. That's the habit he's taken on. He wants to reduce his hand movement and just focus on that lean. And that's what he does. That's his habit. I haven't really watched I haven't gotten a whole lot of videos like this, because it's very unique. I don't think anybody's ever done it before. Record a cop doing that like what Kitslaar has done. I've recorded, like, on my iPod back in 2017, a pretty good shot of that one deputy. But I'm just I don't think he leaned. I have to look again. I don't think he did any leaning like what Kitslaar did. But I found that interesting, that lean. He leaned into the pull like it's an efficiency thing. And then there's also his darting eyes, which really tell me, you know, he communicates through his eyes. It tells me that he probably really isn't that scared. He was looking away several times for seconds at a time. He wasn't focused on me so much. He was just keeping the gun pointed and going on listening cues. He really needs to keep his eyes on the target if he really is scared. It seemed like it was just a threatening move rather than a protective move on his part. It seemed more of like a threatening type of move because he looked away so much. So his eyes darted to the left, his eyes darted to the right. And I find that concerning. Let's see, yeah, those two things really stood out to me as concerning. Eyes darting, the lean, and then just reading comments, what people have to say about the short clip, because a lot of people watched it, and it goes back and forth with all those comments on TikTok. So, you know, it's hard for me to take TikTok very seriously, because I think that the attention span is just too short to take them seriously. But there were some interesting comments about the type of gun it was, the staccato, and Oh, his finger wasn't on the trigger, so that was interesting to me. He kept his finger off the trigger, so it was mentioned in the comments about his discipline in that regard, how he was a very disciplined cop, and he was commended for that kind of discipline, the great discipline. But I mean, I think it's more than just the finger thing. You got to look at his eyes. I mean, just to the how much he turned to pulling his gun. Like, how deep was I in my bag? Like, I just unzipped it, and just as soon as I unzipped it, NFL clear bag policy. Yeah, I don't have a clear bag. I didn't have a clear bag. I don't know how much that would have been a factor with him anyway, just reaching into any bag. And I just barely had it unzipped before he pulled out his gun. And I mean, we're not talking about a big bag, like I was bending down to get a big bag. This was a bag that was on my dashboard. It was small enough to fit on my dashboard. It wasn't like I was reaching in the back of my car for a big bag or anything. It was a small bag. And for him to blow up on something like that, imagine bigger bags and how he'd react. It's concerning, and somebody did mention in comments. There were some interesting comments, and I don't know how much truth there was to them. Some people said something about they were his former wrestling coach. So, one person said that Kitslaar also pulled a gun on him as well. So it was. It's not. I'm not his first time doing that. And you know what's interesting too? I couldn't quite see it. I tried to look. I didn't use the best camera for recording, but on the GoPro Max, I do have Yohr on the video. Alright, he was standing in front, and he at least had his hand on his gun. He at least had that. But I couldn't see if he pulled it out a little bit at all. But he was not easy to see in the dark. Kitslaar, I think he was in Kitslaar's shadow. Kitslaar is kind of a big guy and makes big shadows. But yeah, Yohr decided to go to the front of my car. Well, he entered by the passenger side and then went to the front. And then when Kitslaar started pulling out his gun and warning about digging in bags, then Yohr came around I think a little bit faster. Not easy to see though. He wasn't in very good light, but they were both trigger happy. It's just Kitslaar showed up a lot better on video. So yeah, that was concerning with that situation and the being quick to do it. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of reports they have to write in regards to that. And I guess I have to ask if Yohr has to also write a like use of force report. Is it only for the one who pulls their gun? Did Yohr pull his gun? I guess that's the question I would ask. Does Yohr have to also write out a report because he may have pulled out his gun or not? I'm not sure. I got the response that it'll be 30 days before I get a response for this situation. So it's just going to be a long wait. You know, they went full force, pulling the dog, pulling the gun. It was heavy, and I just don't know why. It's just excessively heavy. Like they're building on their own fears, their own inexperiences in life. They're all young guys. They don't understand how the people all are. Apparently in the news there was a recent drug bust. There was a 6-month investigation, and they got a bunch of guns and drugs, and it's largely fentanyl. So there was a big fentanyl bust that happened in Green Bay, and they arrested what, 7 people over that 6 months. Just a handful of people. So that's action happening. Uh-oh. Okay, yeah, doesn't look like I can go out this way. Can I open this door? Yeah, it's locked. Oh, my mistake. Okay, I gotta go back the other way. All right. Yeah, so that video on TikTok got a lot of views. I didn't get close to that many views. 5 million views on TikTok. I didn't get close to that many views on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. But it blew up on TikTok. I don't know what that means exactly. And then the second video I put up of him searching my GoPro, or searching my drone, it got 1 million views, and I haven't read those comments yet. But it's just with the gun pull. I mean, there's a lot of things that he said that really hints that there was just no fear. There was just intimidation. It was just an intimidation thing, and that was intimidating me with the gun, saying that he'll tase me if I try to run, and then yelling over me, and then playing the mind games, and just being an overall bully with the situation. And then he was really proud to remind me that, yeah, he did pull his gun. I said that because I didn't look. I said it sounded like he pulled his gun, and he was like, yeah, I did, like really aggressively. So he's proud of it. He's not ashamed that it was caught on camera, and a lot of people are actually proud of him for doing that. If you read the comments, some people are shocked, and other people are cheering him on. So it's hard to say which way it'll go for the local response. It's hard to say what the locals think of that. Do they like that in Green Bay, in Brown County? Is this something that they encourage? It's really hard to say. I didn't really do any surveys, but just reading comments, it seems to almost be it almost seems to be equal in approval and disapproval. So I guess you just flip a coin to determine the course. Uh-oh. Just flip a coin. Do they encourage cops to be like this? I don't like it, that's for sure. Because yeah, there's been other situations where I've reached around and I never had such a strong response. There's been a lot of other more relaxed situations. So I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about how people act. There's misunderstandings, and that takes experience. It requires more experience, I think. I was thinking that I wanted to type up the transcript for that. I usually definitely get a transcript if I have a criminal case pending, but for this, I'm like, maybe I could get a transcript going, because YouTube transcript doesn't say who said what. I'd have to manually put that in. Maybe someday AI will be able to figure out who said what and then give the proper voice its credit. But right now it just kind of splashes all the words together and you don't know who said what. And I would go in and just pick them out, pick out who the individual was, and then I could put that into ChatGPT and analyze the situation a little bit better. I only had it analyze all the words at once, and I mean for an intro and description, I think it's fine. But for more detail, you wanna pick out who's saying what.
Your turn. Your turn. I danced. It's your turn. Here we go, you guys. Let's do it.
Who said what? Who was the bigger tyrant in this? After being able to evaluate this, I had the bit more conversation with Yohr than I did Kit's. Yeah. Oh, gotta walk. All right. All right. Ooh. So that's it.